Welcome aboard everyone, Simon here from the Whales of Wall Street. Guys, let's look at the Verasity chart, VRA, on the exchange. We're looking at the KuCoin data here. Guys, I've put this wonderful turquoise or teal coloured box here for a reason. Look at this. So I did some maths. I used a calculator and some websites. So I wanted to know, really, as of today, last year, if I invested $1,000 at its price at that time, 0.0005, okay, just to confirm that, down all the way down here, it's roughly that, 0.007, yeah, it's pretty much bang on. You would have got 2 million VRA tokens. Now the current price of 0.06, bear in mind this is nowhere near where Verasity is going to end up in this year, or certainly this run. So the value, and congratulations to those who had $1,000 available and stuck it in Verasity, because you would be around about $119,000 in your portfolio. Now that is mental. Show me a bank or some other stock investment opportunities that would have that kind of return. We're talking about just over 13,000% gains on the year. Now, I'm just picking out this chart. Of course, there's many other crypto assets that have similar stories, of course, but we're not talking about other ones. We're talking about Verasity, an absolute phenomenal gem, incredibly unique, phenomenal patents left, right, and center. There is a uniqueness about this project, and if you look at Theta, for example, I guess it's kind of partially an equivalent, and you see how Theta exploded this year in price point. Of course, that's not just happened overnight. That's been a story of a number of months and years or whatever in development. But imagine 21 cents. This is a price prediction I put in there. This person or whoever out there put in $1,000 this time last year would have near enough $500,000 in their portfolio. And if we hit $1 this year, which some people are claiming that we may do, 2 million. See you later. I'm off. Done. Bye bye. Enjoy the rest of the show, guys. And of course the list could go on and on, but I just wanted to emphasize it's not until you pull the charts out that you realize the magnitude of growth, the excitement, the awareness, the bullishness, the gain potential in the space that we are in. I'm speaking quite seriously right now because I think that's absolutely phenomenal. And there were even lower points, of course. We could have done this conversation maybe 20th of November, and who knows what the price will be on the 20th of November this year. In fact, I'm going to do another video when we get to that point, because that's probably one of the lowest points. I mean, there are a couple of others, but I'm very interested to see 20th of November versus, remind me, I'm sure I'll remember myself. But I'll tell you what, I'll put a note up here. Just put here, reminder, 20th November, year to date. Just a little note, just to remind myself. Let us know what you think about this, guys, because and I also want to know your stories. Are you investing in VRA, and when did you get in? Did you get in at these times? I'd really like to meet you. Yes. So, and other crypto assets, guys, let us know. I'm really interested. I think it's absolutely fascinating. I had no idea about Verasity back here. I'd only just started really investing myself around February time last year. I went for some Ethereum, and it obviously had a very nice run over the months ahead. I sold it. I think I bought one at £75, which is probably about, I don't know, $100 or something. Don't know what the exchange rate was then. Probably still as bad as it is today. And I think I sold it for like $2,000 or something. And I was like, wow, that is mental. And I just stuck it elsewhere into smaller things like Vet, One, there's a couple of others, of course. and rode those now. I'm riding those now because I was sort of anticipating like the gain mentality of Ethereum and how much more could this go. And of course then I had to pull back and the alts went, so it was a good move at that time. But guys, Verasity is really special, I think, and it's going to have some great, fantastic moves the rest of this year and beyond. But let's take this to a macro level, guys. Hopefully you found that a bit interesting. I thought it was quite fun anyway. You'll notice here, I told you I would. So we've got a couple of people here from the comments, and I have started listing people's price predictions for the end of the year. Get yours in the comments below, and we will indeed be giving a ledger away at the end of the year to the person that's the nearest, the closest. I don't want a multitude of them from each person, just give me one. And rest assured, guys, I know if you've put a comment in previous videos and you've changed your price. I'm not silly. So no cheating. Right, guys, hopefully that's a bit of fun, but let us know in the comments below your price predictions for the end of the year for Verasity, and I will plot those in there. It's just a bit of fun and a bit of engagement, of course. So guys, Verasity has had a phenomenal run also from the year. From this point here, we can look at the 20th, I think, of July to now, or probably about a week ago now when we had that previous all-time high. 814% gains from that point. And even from this stretch here, just to reiterate, because we had this in the previous video, I'm just going to draw it in for those that are new to the channel or new to the asset. We've even had 166% gains since this point here on the 29th of September, from that 2.5 cent mark to that all-time high there of 6.7 cents. So absolutely fantastic movements going on left, right and center in this chart. But we're looking at the stability right now, and look at that. That looks like a V. Of all the shapes it could do, it's done a V. Or maybe some would argue that's a U, but I'm going to say it's a V just for the sake of this video. So if you remember in the previous video that we did on the VRA update, we chose this area that was of interest because we needed to try and maintain some support here to try and push us up to the next levels. Now, it's quite interesting because, of course, we're essentially beyond this point here back in April when we hit 5.5 cents. We're kind of like in a price discovery element at the moment. So Veracity's kind of being shy here, in my opinion. I think it's just waiting. I think we're waiting for a bit more volume to kick in. But we're sort of tailing off here. If you look at the MACD and the histogram down here, we've had that tail off now of the volume coming in. Now, that doesn't mean that we're necessarily going into a bearish mode of swapping into negativity for X amount of time. But you do have to look at all the data to sort of consider this potentially happening. I mean, we've obviously had this big, massive over purchasing arch here. And of course, there was only a matter of time before we would start squeezing that back. So that you see the MACD is narrowing here, which is interesting because we've had kind of like a bit of volatility here, if you like, in the last 2-3 days. But this is quite a nice shape, and I'm hoping it continues that way and we actually have a bit of a boost up, because I think November is generally going to be quite a good month for a lot of assets out there. I think you can understand and see for yourselves that a lot of multitude of different charts in the space are making great moves, and continuing that momentum. So the RSI down here is also having that overshadow effect. I was quite surprised it didn't go up higher into maybe like a higher 80s region, but 77 is still very respectable. I was anticipating it to be pushing up a bit higher, but that's okay because we're still on the momentum of the really good healthy move of Verasity. Look at that nice area here. So we've almost kind of topped out, we've gone back down, we're now back on this trend line that we drew in ages ago, which I find is quite interesting. So it's very much in a not necessarily limbo mode, but it's kind of in this gradual mode right now. So are we going to be testing the mental state of Verasity? Are we going to falsify this histogram and maybe channel up for another green wave, or are we going to have a little switch over on the MACD to a bit of a bearish mode? And I can accept that in some aspects. Of course, we all want charts to go up and up all the time, but this move is very powerful, guys. There was very little resistance. It's not like up here where you've got loads of different motions. It's very much tanked up. And as I mentioned, this area is really critical in my opinion around this previous all-time high. So that's almost going to be a potential support area or resistance area on the way down. We kind of proved that a few days ago around this area, and now we've pushed up slightly. So we're floating around really trying to close above this 5.7 cents mark. We're doing a good job so far today. If we can get that close and maybe over another day or two, it might just switch us back into a good mood on this chart and MACD down here. But if we start seeing a restriction in volume, i.e. smaller moves like this on a regular basis in the next 2-3 days, we may drop further down. Now, typically, any kind of corrections between sort of 20, 30 to sort of even 70%. I don't think we're in the chart movement right now to be anticipating some kind of crazy drop, but it's all as well really down to Bitcoin's movements. Of course, that's had an all-time high today, and generally what usually happens with those particular sport areas in Bitcoin is you then get the influx of people taking profits and then putting it into some of the alt ones that are perhaps they're reinvesting into the ones that they believe for the future or trying to boost their portfolio in one way or another. So we just got to keep an eye on the Bitcoin chart as well. What I might do further on in videos moving forward maybe is analyze the Bitcoin movement first before jumping into the assets, because it does have some kind of correlation, of course. So for me, guys, waffling on here now, we're looking at this really interesting area here. We had a repeat of it here and we had the dip down. I'm just wondering if we'll come back down here to that 5.2 cent mark, or indeed track back down to this 5.6 cent mark. So for me personally, actually, I mean, I don't have any USDT available right now, but I'm thinking potentially to have a bit of a nice saving now. I mean, that's a good 8 cents drop. And if you were looking at something, 8 cents, what am I talking about? 0.8 cents drop. I was going to say 8 cents. What's happened? That's quite a big achievement depending on what volume you've got going in. But I'm going to keep this buy area down here around just floating above this 5 cent mark, just in case we have to switch over and a bit of profit taking. And when I mean profit taking, I mean people have perhaps played around with the thought of doing it around here but didn't, because the volume's just pushing it back up. But we might see if there's a big tail off on Bitcoin, maybe one kind of last correction before the big push up over the next couple of months. That might be a good area still, but I'm actually going to move that up slightly, just maybe around that 56 mark, and then drop the lower area just hovering above the 5 cent mark. So let's see how that plays out. But right now, guys, like I said, the next day or two are really interesting for Verasity as to what we're doing here. If we can get support here, again, maybe over the next 24, 48 hours, I think we could start pushing back up to that 6.1 mark, and then push it up, maybe, just maybe, into the weekend or next week to push that all-time high again. But, I'd just be wary that this MACD is closing, and we're just sort of, it's almost like it's playing with us. It's like, are we ready to go down, or we might have a repeat of this before a correction, and this bit may come when Bitcoin decides to have a bit of a mess around as well. So let's keep an eye on it. It'd be really interesting to see if we get this kind of pattern again. I'm not saying it's going to be exactly the same, but it is looking very similar, isn't it? So guys, before we wrap up, another quick pointer on the indicators on the right hand side here, up 3% on the week. This is why I'm a bit not concerned, but thinking this is sort of retrieved a bit or not as good as it could or should be, in my opinion. 110% up on the month, 3 months, 6 months are massive. Year to date, absolutely incredible. Cannot believe that. So it's all looking funky and brilliant for VRA as always. But guys, at the end of the day, even if there's a correction, there's just an opportunity to bag this incredible project even more so before it really takes off. And I'm sticking with my 21 cents. But like I said, guys, let us know what you think your end of year predictions will be, and we will chart them here as we have done with a couple of the ones that I've seen. Forgive me if I've missed any, but it's just another opportunity for you to shove them into this video, and I will make sure that they are added to this chart for the next one, and we'll have a bit of banter with them as well. See who's coming up with don't put crazy ones for the sake of it. I'm really interested to see what people's thoughts and opinions are on the potential price position of VRA at the end of the year. So guys, we'll wrap that up there, and that's 15 minutes of your and my time. So thank you very much for watching, and guys, make sure you smash that subscribe button if you've not done so already. And if you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. Hopefully you're enjoying what you're hearing and seeing, and we will see you in the next VRA update. Thanks guys, we'll see you soon. Bye bye.